About a week ago, the Australian Classification Board, the Australian government body responsible for classification and censorship of films, video games, and other forms of media, gave DayZ a refused classification rating. Now, to be clear, the game has been available in Australia since its initial release in 2013, but the game at the end of the year is receiving physical releases for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which is what prompted them to review the game again. And on August 13th, the game was banned from being sold, hired, advertised, and legally imported into Australia due to the game having drug referencing. And the questionable drugs that are displayed in-game are morphine, codeine, and marijuana, which you use to suppress and heal critical states of your character and restore things like stamina. Substances that exist in real life. Substances that the use pertains to the world the video game is portraying. Mortal Kombat is fine in Australia, but painkillers? Not cool, guys. Not cool. When 5 Stars Game Pty Ltd applied to the classification board for a classification for an upcoming PlayStation 4 release of the game in Australia, they advised that drug use in the game included cannabis. The aim of DayZ is to stay alive and healthy during the conditions of the outbreak, and the player's health is measured by vital statistics. Throughout general gameplay, the player is able to collect and use a variety of equipment, supplies, and weaponry, with one option to restore the player's health being a marijuana joint labeled cannabis, which is denoted by a cannabis bud in the player's inventory. The player is able to select and use it when their vital statistics are low. When the player smokes the cannabis, their vital statistics of food and water increase and their temperature decreases. Therefore, in the opinion of the classification board, cannabis use during the game acts as an incentive or reward to boost overall health and survivability. The board noted that there was no instance of intoxication resulting in this drug use depicted within the game. Now, instead of the developer, Bohemia Interactive, either accepting the ban or changing specific portions of the game that caused the ban in the regions that it got banned, they have decided that they would rather alter the game globally instead of making a local version for Australia. So people in any other regions will have to deal with these changes and this blatant censorship for one region. That is what upsets me, is that these developers do not want to put the time and the effort into actually fixing the problem. It is worth noting that Australia is very critical of drug use in media. Anything that rewards players for using such thing is seen as a negative, and a similar situation happened with Fallout 3 as well. In Fallout 3, players had to use things like syringes and tablets because it depicted drug misuse, so Bethesda had to rename the items to fictional names instead of having a name like morphine, which did get around the content guidelines. But will that actually happen here? We ultimately do not know which move they will make. They could remove these items completely, redesign them, or they could simply rename them, but the question is, would renaming it actually get around Australia's rules and regulations? Since when Fallout 3 launched to now, there have been some changes in those content guidelines, so who really knows ultimately what will happen? If this is going to be the future of games, where specific regions are censorship heavy, like China in censoring anything that has violence, or Australia where they will ban anything that has to do with drug use, these companies are going to have to consider going back and regionalizing games. If a game has to meet a region requirement, people in other places should not have to deal with these changes that will fit into those guidelines. It is not fair to people that live in other regions. And I am not just saying that because I have to deal with this change as well. I am saying this in general. No one deserves to deal with forced changes to a game if it does not pertain to where they live. But let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below about DayZ being banned in Australia, and also the fact that the game will be receiving global changes. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, and of course if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you guys again in the next video really soon.